Talkatoo podcast.
English conversation made easy.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma. It's really nice to be here with you again today.
Hey guys, I'm Dilo. Thanks for spending a little part of your day with us.
This is Talkatoo podcast, where we slow things down, talk about real life, and practice English together through warm, natural conversations.
Yeah, no pressure to be perfect. Just two people sharing thoughts that hopefully make you feel a little less alone.
Dilo, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Have you ever reached the end of the day and thought, I was busy all day, but somehow the day didn't really mean anything?
Honestly, yes. More times than I'd like to admit. Sometimes I wake up, go to work, answer emails, finish a few tasks, come home, make dinner, watch something online, and then suddenly it's time to sleep again.
Yeah, and then the next day looks almost exactly the same.
Exactly. It's not that anything is wrong, it's just ordinary. And after a while, I start wondering, is this all life is?
I think that's a question many people quietly ask themselves, especially when life becomes very routine.
Yeah, because routines are strange. On one hand, they make life easier, but on the other hand, they can make time pass so quickly that weeks feel like days.
That's true. Sometimes we become so busy living our routine that we stop noticing the life inside it.
I like that sentence. The life inside the routine.
Yeah, because a routine isn't the problem by itself. The problem is when we move through every day on autopilot.
Autopilot. That's exactly how it feels sometimes.
Yeah, you wake up, do the same things, talk to the same people, come home tired, and before you know it, another week has gone by.
And then you start thinking that meaningful moments only happen on holidays, birthdays, or special occasions.
Exactly. We begin to believe that meaning only exists in big events. A new job, a wedding, a trip, a promotion, something exciting.
But everyday life doesn't usually look like that.
No, most of our lives are made of very ordinary Tuesdays, quiet mornings, simple dinners, and small conversations.
I guess that's why some people feel empty. They're waiting for something extraordinary to happen.
Yeah, and while they're waiting, they accidentally overlook the life that's already happening.
That's a little sad.
It is, because if we only allow ourselves to feel alive during special moments, we'll miss most of our lives.
So maybe the real question isn't, how do I live an extraordinary life?
Exactly. Maybe the better question is, how do I find meaning in ordinary days?
I really like that, because ordinary days are what most of us actually have.
Yeah, and maybe that's where a meaningful life quietly begins. Not once or twice a year, but in the small moments we usually don't pay attention to.
Okay, so if most of life is ordinary, then where does meaning actually come from? Because honestly, when I hear the word meaning, I imagine something big, like changing the world, finding my dream job, or discovering some huge purpose.
Yeah, I think a lot of people imagine it that way. We often think meaning has to be something dramatic or life-changing. But honestly, I don't think that's how most people experience it.
Really?
Yeah, I think meaning is usually much quieter. It often appears in moments that don't look important at first.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Imagine you have breakfast with your family before work, or you help a friend who's having a difficult day, or you take a walk in the evening and notice a beautiful sunset. None of those moments change the world, but they can still make life feel meaningful.
I think that's interesting because those are the kinds of moments I usually forget.
Exactly. They're easy to overlook because they happen all the time. But if you think about it, our lives are made mostly of small moments, not big ones.
I guess that's true. I probably spend much more time making coffee than celebrating achievements.
Exactly. And if we believe only achievements give life meaning, then we're ignoring most of our days.
I kind of disagree a little. I still think big goals matter. They give us something to work toward.
Oh, I completely agree. Goals are important. They give us direction. But meaning and goals aren't always the same thing.
What's the difference?
A goal is usually something in the future. Meaning can exist right now. You don't have to wait until you reach a goal to experience a meaningful moment.
I never thought about it that way.
Think about it. You can enjoy a conversation today. You can laugh with a friend today. You can help someone today. Those moments don't have to wait for your future success.
I think sometimes I postpone happiness without realizing it.
Yeah, many people do. They tell themselves, I'll enjoy life when I get that job. I'll relax when I earn more money. I'll be happy when everything is finally in place.
And meanwhile, today's life keeps passing by.
Exactly. And that's why I think meaning is often very small. It's hidden inside the ordinary moments that we usually rush through.
So maybe making dinner, talking to my parents, reading a few pages of a book, or watching the sunset aren't just little things.
Exactly. Sometimes those are the things you'll remember years later, not because they were extraordinary, but because they made you feel connected, peaceful, or alive.
I really like that. It makes everyday life feel a little richer.
Yeah, because maybe meaning isn't something we find at the end of life. Maybe it's something we quietly collect, one ordinary moment at a time.
After everything we've talked about, I think another question comes to mind. If meaning is hidden in everyday life, why do we miss it so often? Why does it feel so easy to overlook the things that really matter?
I think it's because our attention is always being pulled somewhere else. There's always another message to answer, another video to watch, another task to finish, another goal to chase.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like my mind is everywhere except where I actually am.
Exactly. And when our attention is constantly moving, it's difficult to fully experience the moment we're living in.
I notice that sometimes when I'm eating dinner, I'll be watching videos, replying to messages, and thinking about tomorrow's work at the same time.
Yeah, and then the meal is over before you even remember tasting it.
Exactly. It's like I was there physically, but not mentally.
And I think that happens in many parts of life. We talk to people without really listening. We walk outside without noticing the trees or the sky. We spend time with family while thinking about work.
That's a little uncomfortable to hear because it's true.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we should pay attention perfectly all the time. That's impossible. But maybe we can become a little more intentional.
Intentional. I like that word.
Yeah, because meaning often grows where attention goes. The things we truly notice become more meaningful to us.
So if I keep paying attention only to deadlines and problems, my whole life starts feeling like deadlines and problems.
Exactly. But if you also notice small moments of kindness, laughter, beauty, or connection, your experience of life slowly changes too.
I kind of disagree a little. Some days are just stressful. There really isn't much beauty to notice.
Yeah, and that's true. Some days are genuinely difficult. I'm not suggesting we pretend everything is wonderful. But even on hard days, there can still be one small thing that reminds us we're alive. Maybe someone smiles at you. Maybe you enjoy a warm cup of coffee. Maybe you hear your favorite song on the way home.
So it's not about ignoring the difficult parts.
Exactly. It's about making sure the difficult parts don't become the only parts we notice.
Hmm, I think that's something I need to practice. I often finish the day remembering only the stressful moments.
Yeah, our minds naturally focus on problems because they're trying to protect us. But sometimes we have to gently remind ourselves to notice what's going well, too.
Hmm, maybe that's why gratitude is talked about so much.
Yeah, not because it magically removes problems, but because it helps us see that life is usually bigger than the problems we're facing.
I really like that. Maybe choosing what truly matters starts with choosing what we give our attention to every day.
Exactly. Because little by little, our attention shapes our memories, our emotions, and eventually the kind of life we feel we're living.
It's funny. When people talk about meaningful moments, they usually tell stories about something huge, a graduation, a wedding, a big achievement. But I wonder, can an ordinary day really change the way someone sees life?
Yeah, I think it can. Actually, I remember reading a story that stayed with me because nothing extraordinary happened in it.
Really? Now I'm curious. Really? Now I'm curious.
It was written by a man who had been feeling tired and disappointed with life for a long time. He said every day felt exactly the same: wake up, work, eat, sleep, and repeat. He kept thinking that life would become meaningful once something exciting happened.
Hmm. I think a lot of people have felt that way.
Exactly. One Saturday morning, he planned to stay home and do nothing. But his elderly neighbor knocked on his door and asked if he could help carry a few heavy boxes upstairs.
Okay.
He said yes. The whole thing only took about 15 minutes. After they finished, the neighbor invited him in for tea. They sat together and talked for almost an hour.
Hmm. What did they talk about?
Nothing dramatic. They talked about old movies, gardening, the weather, childhood memories, and how quickly time passes. Before he left, the neighbor smiled and said, "Thank you. I haven't had someone to talk to all week."
Wow.
Yeah, that simple sentence stayed with him. Later, he wrote that he had spent months searching for meaning in big achievements, but that morning reminded him that sometimes meaning comes from simply being there for another person.
That's really touching. And the interesting part is that he almost stayed home.
Exactly. If he had said he was too busy or too tired, he probably would have remembered that Saturday as just another ordinary day.
Instead, it became one of the days he remembered most.
Yeah, and I think that's because meaning often appears when we stop asking, "How can today be special?" and start asking, "How can I be present today?"
I really like that. Being present sounds much more possible than trying to create the perfect day.
Exactly. Most meaningful moments don't announce themselves. They don't arrive with music or fireworks. They usually look very ordinary while they're happening.
And we often don't realize how important they were until much later.
Yeah, because life has a quiet way of surprising us. A conversation, a shared meal, helping someone, or even sitting together in silence can become a memory we carry for years.
Maybe ordinary days aren't actually ordinary.
Exactly. Maybe they're full of meaningful moments that we're simply too busy to notice.
After today's conversation, I think I'm looking at everyday life a little differently. Before, I thought meaning was something I had to find somewhere far away. Now, it feels like it might already be much closer than I realized.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I don't think most people suddenly discover a meaningful life one day. I think they slowly build one through the way they live each ordinary day.
And I guess that's actually good news.
Why do you say that?
Because it means I don't have to wait for something huge to happen before I can feel like my life matters. I don't have to wait for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, or the perfect future.
Exactly. Those things can bring happiness, of course. But if we believe meaning only exists in the future, we spend most of our lives waiting instead of living.
I think that's something I've done without realizing it. I've said things like, life will be better when, so many times.
Yeah, and I think all of us have. When I earn more money, when I move to a new place, when I'm less busy. But life has a quiet way of happening while we're making those plans.
That's such a simple sentence, but it's true.
Yeah, and maybe meaning isn't something we finally achieve. Maybe it's something we practice. The way we greet people, the way we listen, the way we care for ourselves, the way we spend an ordinary afternoon.
I like the word practice. It feels less stressful than trying to find my purpose.
Exactly. Because purpose can feel like one huge question, but meaning can begin with one small choice today.
Like calling your parents, making dinner for someone you love, reading a good book, or taking a walk without looking at your phone.
Yeah, those moments might seem small while they're happening, but together they slowly become the story of your life.
I never really thought about it like that. We always remember birthdays and holidays, but most of our memories are built during ordinary days too.
Exactly. And that's why I think we should be gentle with ordinary days. We don't have to make every day exciting. We just have to be present enough to live it.
If someone listening feels like life has become repetitive lately, maybe they don't need to change everything.
Yeah. Maybe they only need to notice one meaningful moment today, one good conversation, one beautiful sunset, one kind person, one quiet cup of tea. Sometimes that's enough to remind us that life is still happening.
I really love that idea. A meaningful life isn't built once, it's built daily.
Exactly. One ordinary morning, one ordinary evening, one ordinary act of kindness at a time.
Thank you so much for spending this ordinary, but hopefully meaningful conversation with us today.
We hope it encourages you to look at your own everyday life with a little more curiosity and appreciation.
Take care of yourself this week.
And remember, meaning isn't hiding in some distant future. It might already be waiting for you in today.
We'll talk again soon.
Bye.
See you next time.